Well, thank you for joining us on Inside Business. My name is Caroline Jenga. It is the 30th day of September 2019, the day the older 1,000 shillings ceases to be a legal tender. So what is the government going to do, or what is the central bank going to say about this? They have prepared for us a presser on Wednesday to share with us how much has been collected from the circulation in the market. Remember, only 100 billion shillings had been collected as of August, but we are yet to be given details of how much has been collected as of September. But for now, we'll be giving you details of what is happening in the country, and Jimmy Bogo is on standby. But before that, we take a look at the highlights. Well, the older 1,000 shillings deadline. Now, ASK show kicks off in Nairobi. Now, CBK cash mop-up in this Nairobi. Welcome to the program, and my name is Caroline Jenga. Now, this year's Nairobi Agriculture Show has kicked off as more than 500 exhibitors expected to showcase the agricultural products. Players in the sector hopes to partner with other professionals during the expo in order to transform the continent by showcasing Africa's diverse services and products. Linda Koskei with the details of that report.
Consumer goods, automotive parts, electronic appliances, IT solutions are among the things that will be showcased during the Nairobi Agricultural Show. This event will bring together policymakers, industry executives, farmers and consumers to learn about emerging trends in trade on agricultural commodities. Speaking at the showground prior to the trade fair on Sunday, Nairobi Traffic Police Commander-in-Charge Joshua Omukata said Ngong Road, which is the only major entry to the grounds which has been undergoing construction, will be opened throughout the week to enable easy access to the grounds.
People who will not be having any business to do with the show, we advise them to use alternative routes.
The expo will have a capacity of 450 exhibitions, seating capacity of 600, and it will also carry B2B business discussions. According to Joseph Mugo, who is the Nairobi International Trade Fair branch chairman, the government plans to transform the event into a 24-hour economy.
But we are anticipating that we are going to get about 400 local exhibitors and about 100 international exhibitors. What is new is the innovation that we have in technology, in agriculture, that is going to be exhibited here.
The Nairobi International Trade Fair is the largest in East African region, which offers opportunities for regional, continental and global exhibitors to display and demonstrate their services and products. Linda Koskei, K24 Business.
Now, the 3 days Trade Integration Summit held in Nairobi brought key stakeholders in the region to discuss challenges facing the region. Among them was the tax harmonization as well as lack of a common custom unit. This even as the region seeks to establish a common currency to further enhance trade. Jimmy Mbogo with that details.
Well, indeed, thank you very much, and a very good afternoon to you two right there in studio. Now, it is the final day of the 3-day summit that was speaking about trade integration, especially in the East African region. Now, some of the recommendations that have been made include actually enhancing data analysis in the region, as well as development measures to curb digital crime in the region, just to be able to make sure that trade becomes more efficient in the region. The other recommendation that has been made throughout this process is the fact that there is need for improved integration. And We actually spoke to the PS during the beginning of this session just to speak to us about some of these recommendations and what the government intends to do. I'm yet again joined by the PS for Trade, that is Dr. Chris Kipto. Dr. thank you so much for speaking to us again. Now, there have been a couple of recommendations that have been made. From where you sit, from the Ministry of Trade, how do we move this conversation forward after this summit?
Thank you very much. This has been a very, very successful conference of 3 days. And the theme has been to look at trade integration in EAC within the context of 20 years of the existence of the community. The community came into being in 1999. And 20 years later, we're asking ourselves, how has the journey been? What have we gained? What have we lost? And what do we need to do to make sure we build a stronger region?
All right, now, one appears there is also the issue of a single custom territory. Now, how is this going to work, and how can traders take advantage of this?
It is fully operationalized. At the point of entry, you make clearance, you pay your duties, and from then on, your goods go to your destination. You don't have to stop at the Malaba to be asked to pay duty. You pay in Mombasa. The customs authority there will be also having officers from all countries, Uganda and the rest. So when you reach, your good is cleared and you move quickly to your destination.
During these discussions, the other thing that the stakeholders have raised is the issue of that is the skill gap in human capital. How do we address this?
This is something that we agreed all governments of the EAC should address. And you know, at in Kenya, we are really ahead of that. We are working hard on our TVET program. If there is one area that Kenya has advantage over the rest of the countries, is on the issue of human capital. And it is one of those that we want to up our game so that a lot of the skill gaps are closed, and that in the region we have the necessary skills and the competencies required in the region, so that there is meaning when you say common market.
All right, Bonapiers, the issue of political stability is still very key. How do we make sure then that we can enable trade without interfering with the politics, or without having politics interfering with trade in the region?
I think if there is one thing I want to laud the leadership of the EAC as is the political leadership that we have received. Throughout the time that EAC has been in existence, we have had our political leaders at the summit meeting every year and providing direction. And you can see clearly that because of that political goodwill, progress has been made. But we also recognize that we could do more. That is why in our journey of integration, we are going to move from a customs union to a common market, then from a common market to a monetary union, ultimately to a political federation. EAC is fairly stable.
When you look at countries such as Kenya and the East African region, these are growing economies. The population is also growing. In terms of the potential of the private sector, where do we stand?
In fact, today we challenge the private sector to do more than they have been doing, because everything we are doing in EAC is about creating the environment for them to function. And today we had them speak loud and clear to say that they are going to put their act together to ensure that they optimize the opportunities existing, and that they also organize themselves well so that their voice is heard. And I think we recognize that the East African Business Council, whose leadership was very well represented here, has now become vibrant. And we see the private sector then having greater voice. We even agreed that they will be participating in a lot of our meetings.
All right, Bonapiers, are we looking at a regional currency because you've actually mentioned it?
We have a regional currency inside. It's part of the program because we have already a monetary union act. The IALA, the East African Legislative Assembly, has passed already a law allowing for the creation of the Monetary Institute, which is a precursor for the monetary union for EAC. And we expect that sometime in the future, we shall have one East Africa currency.
All right, indeed. Thank you so much, Bonapiers. And we will be looking forward to and following up on this discussion, just to be able to ensure that the private sector is well informed to be able to take up and use these advantages and the open borders in the region, just to be able to keep improving the status of the EAC community. But for now, back to you in studio.
Well, thank you, Jimmy Mbogo, for that update. Now, the government will soon begin a crackdown to root out illegal circles in churches that are out or to swindle money from innocent followers who are lured into the scam by being encouraged to save. Authorities claim there are proposed plans to set up new regulations for circles to tame those that are faulting the rules to save innocent Kenyans hard-earned money from being stolen. Massimila Noit has a small.
According to John Munuve, the chairman of the Sacco Society Regulatory Authority, SASRA, in the proposed plan, the government will regulate SACCOs below the regular 500 billion shillings, such that even those with 100 million shillings are monitored to avoid such crimes. The crackdown comes after an increase in reports of rogue religious people coming up with SACCOs and operating them in the pulpit illegally.
Kenyans were released of our 2 billion shillings through a KESA, and that is through the church again. The government of His Excellency Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta has given the mandate to SASRA to lower the bar so that we are able to bring in all SACCO, everybody claiming to be a SACCO with a capital base of 100 million and above. As per the regulations, SASRA was mandated to regulate SACCOs with a capital of only 500 million shillings and above. Currently, he said there were 176 registered SACCO, but expect more than 200 to come in, including those that are operating illegally once they begin looking for them. If you call yourself SACCO and you are taking deposits from Kenyans, we would like to know how you're operating and how transparent your operations are. This question of using the pulpit and enticing people with an increase on their savings through the Holy Spirit or through planting a seed and whatever, we are going to rain on them. We are coming because we wouldn't allow Kenyans to be fleeced. Massimiliano, K24 Inside Business.
Well, by midnight, the old 1,000 shillings note ceases to be legal tender. All banks are expected to close their operations by 4 p.m. to allow for audit of accounts. This follows a CBK directive to banks to file reports on the amount of old 1,000 shillings notes collected by the close of business. Most retail outlets and services providers have already stopped accepting the old 1,000 shillings note ahead of today's deadline. CBK hope to suck back 217 billion shillings, which represents 80% of all the money in circulation. But by August, about 100 billion shillings had been exchanged, which is nearly half of the 217 billion shillings that was to be replaced. Now, this begs the question, has CBK fallen short of demonetization target, and where did the billions go? Now we look at the higher interest rate the Central Bank of Kenya is offering on its short-term repurchase agreement instrument to reduce shillings liquidity is pushing down the demand for 3- and 6-month treasury bills. Now the rate the CBK is paying on the term auction deposits compared to that on 91 and 182 days T-bills is higher, indicating to investors that they are better off surrendering their cash to the CBK in the mop-up exercise. The 7-day TAD being used by the CBK for the mop-up stood at 8.98% on Friday, just shy of the 9% maximum allowed, which is prevailing central bank rate. Well, now it's that time we have a studio discussion. Today we are looking at saving for retirement. There are some shocking statistics that were actually released by AKI, the Association of Kenya, and they have been talking about how many Kenyans have been saving. And if you can just look at the shocking statistics, one of them being that over 70% of Kenyans are unprepared for retirement. This is a survey done by the Association of Kenyan surveyors, insurance survey, which was done actually during the early last week rather. The second statistic was only 29% felt that they are well prepared for retirement. And the third was 19% do not plan for retirement at all. And in studio will be joined by the Pauline, who is actually the general manager for life insurance at AKI, to explain all these statistics. And this third one is about 39% of Kenyans view their children as the retirement package. Something else that came out clearly in that survey is that 66% cite high daily expenses as a stumbling block to saving for old age. Also, what came out, remember this survey was done in 10 counties, and something else that stood out was that 61% say they do not earn enough income to allow them to save. Something else that was actually in the survey was that only 2% of Kenyans seek information on saving for retirement from professional services. The rest actually seek from internet, as that is from Facebook and as well as Twitter. And also 79% of workers target business in retirement. Now, this is some of the statistics that this survey by Association of Kenya Insurance that revealed, and we have Pauline Gadhuri, who is the general manager or the senior manager for life insurance at Aki, to explain this more to us. Welcome to our studios.
Thank you.
Maybe you can start from over 70% of Kenyans are unprepared for savings, or rather for retirement. These are some very shocking statistics.
Yeah.
How do you perceive this as an association?
For us as an association, we actually wanted to carry out this research because we wanted to have facts, and it's a very sad thing when we actually have so many Kenyans, 70% of the entire workforce, not preparing for retirement. And you know, retirement is a sure thing; it will come. And when you're young, it's when you can save money that you can then use in your old age. Because old age, you're frail, you're old, you can't be able to hustle. So the basic thing is when you're working, everybody needs to put some money aside that you can then use in your old age.
Okay, 29% are well prepared for retirement. So in your capacity, what are you doing to ensure this over 70%, they're able now to save for retirement? And it's like young people just like me who are out there, maybe they're saying some of the contributing factors are maybe, let's say, high cost of living.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Carol. Yeah. Some of the things we are doing is we've come up with products that then even the young people will find necessary and very convenient to save for retirement. But one of the things I would like to tell people, there's no time you'll ever have enough money. That you say, now I have enough money, let me save some money. When you get a higher income, your expenses go up. So just start where you are. And we have, just to tell Kenyans that there are products that they can use, because when you try to save through the bank, you just put money in the bank. Is it really possible to keep that money? A need comes and you access the money. But in this country, we have registered pension plans, which are very well regulated by the Retirement Benefits Authority. And those are the vehicles, safe, regulated vehicles that then anybody can use to save for their retirement. For example, for the young people, we have what we call a personal pension plan. It doesn't matter whether you're in formal employment or you're self-employed, you can just put in a little money as you get money, as little as 500 per month. And you'll be shocked that as you know, you go along, at retirement you'll have built a sizable amount of money that you can retire on. Then you can then go on to buy an annuity, because that's also another problem we found. Even the ones who are saving, when they get to retirement, they get the whole lump sum and maybe decide to start a business or do something, and the money maybe unfortunately goes down the drain.
Okay, but from your survey, you did this survey in about 10 counties, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
What would you say that, can you attribute this low preparedness by Kenyans to save for retirement?
Okay.
Apart from the high cost of living that I mentioned earlier on.
Yeah, I think also the awareness. People may not be aware that there's a way they can actually prepare for their retirement in a better way. And also we have this notion of, we assume when you're young, you always assume you'll be strong, you'll be able to hustle in your old age, but really that is not the case. So having a retirement plan when you're working, I think for me it's really the right thing to do, because in old age, we've all seen, you don't even have to say that I've retired, I'm feeling the effects. We've seen old people who've retired, and there's nothing as sad as poverty in old age when you're not strong enough to do something about it.
Okay.
Yes.
And something else that came out boldly actually in your survey is that most retirees actually spend bulk of their savings within the first 3 years of accessing that money. That raises an alarm right there, right?
Yes, yes,
and what else did you find out in regards to that?
what we found is being Kenyans, when you're given an option of getting your 5 million cash lump sum or getting a regular income every month that can sustain you for the rest of your life, most people will opt for the lump sum, but it's not the better option. So actually the government has also come up with rules that in a pension scheme, take a third of the money, the other money buy an annuity, the 2/3 buy an annuity, because they've done studies, they've seen it. After 3 years, you have no money left. So the better option is save in a pension scheme and then buy an annuity at retirement with maybe 2/3 of your money, and this annuity guarantees you a monthly income for the rest of your life, for as long as you live, irrespective of what you're doing. Okay. So it's really a better way of ensuring your old age is comfortable. Yeah.
Okay. There's also a tendency where these retirees maybe use this bulk of money to start off businesses. But the sad part is that most of these businesses do not even last for more than a year, which is very alarming also. Yes?
Yeah.
More of that is when you interviewed these people, when you talk to these old people, and they say the lack of management is one of the reasons why their businesses fail. How, as you as an association, or are you helping these old retirees to ensure that their businesses actually boom whenever they set up businesses back at home?
Yeah, because it's a very, very huge problem actually, and what we'd like to tell people is when you save for retirement, put this money aside for retirement. That money is for you to live on in retirement. It's not money to go and start a business. Because now you're old, you're 60, you don't even have the energy, maybe if you didn't start the business earlier, chances of it going down is very, very high. So we say that this is not maybe the only savings you're doing. Save money for your retirement, let it be for sustaining you in your retirement. If you're able to put some more money aside, maybe in another savings plan like a SACCO, you can then start business with that. But the one for retirement, just buy a guaranteed monthly income, which is payable to you by the 25th of every month for the rest of your life, for as long as you live. If you're trying business, try maybe with some other money, but it's very dangerous to try it with the retirement money. Because basically, all of us, we think, yeah, I can do business. But when you go into that, the reality is actually almost 90% of all small businesses fail within their first 3 years. Yeah.
But there has been also this tendency of Kenyans maybe accessing their pension even before when they hit the 60-year age. But we have seen the government come in and say, you know, you'll only access this money.
Yes. Because the government realized what people are doing is you're still young, you're 30, you're 25, you're 40, you change jobs, you access your retirement money. Remember, the money you're eating, you're supposed to be using it when you're not strong enough to work at 60. So by the time you hit retirement age, you've basically consumed all your money. So the government is actually trying to safeguard people so that they use this money at retirement, which is the right time. Because the government has also seen there is a huge problem in our country. Remember, they've started the old age money transfer to people who are really, really poor. So the government is actually saying use this money is for your retirement. But basically what I'd like to tell people today, Carol, is so many people are working and this is the time to put some money aside for your retirement. It's the only way to ensure you have a comfortable retirement age. Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming to our studios.
Thank
where
you.
there has been Pauline Gaduri, who is the Senior Manager Life Insurance at Aki. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Now, moving on to other stories making headlines in the world of business. Now, smallholder farmers in the country have been urged to embrace information communication technology to access crucial information on effects of climate change, quality planting materials, and pests and diseases that ravage crops and animals. According to the Chief Executive Officer of Yield International, Alexander, ICT platforms have the capacity to ensure farmers improve crop production. Linda Koskei tells us more.
During the second edition of Digital Farmers Conference and Exhibition held at Egerton University, the Chief Executive Officer of Yield International, Alexander Valenton, showcased an application which will enable farmers to access information on how to improve crop production and animal husbandry in order to enhance food security in Kenya.
If farmers have a choice on what to do, so it's a financial choice, it's an information choice, it's a market choice, then eventually we as consumers will eat better. And I want to eat better. I want to eat healthier, and I want to know what I'm eating.
The conference themed Creating the Future Together comes at a time when the agricultural sector in Africa is experiencing a transformation driven by increased adoption of technology on different frontiers. Experts in the sector say ICT tools are increasingly becoming a new arsenal in the fight against hunger and feeding the world's billions. Further, the emerging concept of e-agriculture has the potential to revolutionize the agricultural sector due to its affordability, accessibility, and adaptability. Anthony Njoroge, a maize and beans small-scale farmer, cited lack of extension agents as one of the major hindrances.
Each one of us has got something to learn, and each one of us has got something to teach. And that is why, for instance, we have got the farmers. They are with us here in this sitting, and they can have their input. And rightly said, you have said that all these policies have been made in the boardroom and in conferences and so on. But rarely do we find farmers and the end users coming to have an input, having a say on what should be incorporated in those policies.
The conference seeks to explore how digitalized farming can be deployed for useful purposes, including land use planning, crop focusing, and early warning systems. Linda Koskei, K24 Inside Business.
Well, thank you, Linda Koskei, for that report. Now, as of midnight, as I had earlier on told you, the old 1,000 shillings notes is to be a legal tender. And we've been going to the counties to just see how this is affecting. And you're joined by Simwa, who is from Eldoret, and he's going to share with us what's the status update down there in the counties. Simwa, over to you.
Yes, well, Caroline, when the announcement was made 3 months ago, it looked like it was a century away, but we are barely counting less than 3 hours, at least within the working time, before the deadline hits home. And of course, Caro, we are just within one of the main markets within the CBD of Eldoret. And we just want to find out from a section of business people whether they have fully complied with the deadline. Of course, there have been some concerns that a huge chunk of that money could still be circulating in the economy, Caro. And that's why we seek to just find out whether some of them are still experiencing customers who are coming by with the old currency, the 1,000 shillings notes, not rather that comes to an end today. Nitaungana na mwanadada mmoja hapa, mfanyabiashara katika soko hili. Labda kwa utaanza kutuambia majina na kwa ufupi tu, wateja wako wanapokuja hapa bado wanakuja na ile noti ya kitambo ama waliacha? Angalia kamera, anza kwa majina.
Kwa majina naitwa Irene, nafanya kazi hapa Eldoret Main Market. Hivi leo bado wateja wajaleta hiyo pesa mzee, kuanzia asubuhi hadi saa hizi tujakutana nayo.
Perhaps mara ya mwisho kupata noti ya kitambo ilikuwa ni lini?
Jumamosi.
Na kumekuwepo na visa, kuna watu wanadai kwamba kuna visa ambapo watu wanaleta noti ambazo si halali. Labda nyinyi kama wafanyabiashara mmekumbana na mambo kama haya?
Tumekumbana nayo mara si moja, but tumekuwa tuki-identify haraka.
Na labda swali la mwisho, leo hii mteja akaja na ile noti ya kitambo, unaweza ichukua?
Hatuwezi kuichukua kwa sasa, kwa sababu wakati umeelekea kuisha.
Asante sana. Caro, that was one of the business ladies with this market, just telling us her experience, telling us that it has been quite some time when she saw the old note. Labda ukinipisha kidogo tu nizungumze na mama mwingine hapa ambaye ni mfanyabiashara. Songa kidogo ndio uonekane kwenye kamera. Labda wewe kama mfanyabiashara katika soko hili, noti ya kitambo mara ya mwisho uliona lini?
Noti ya mwisho niliona on Saturday. Ndio niliona, sijaiona leo tena.
Na labda mteja akija saizi angependa kununua vitu vya 2,000, 3,000 na noti mzee ya 1,000, utaichukua?
Sitaichukua kwa sababu sina mahali nitapeleka. So lazima aende abadilishe ama ajue vile atafanya ndio anilete nimhudumie.
Kwa mujibu wa wafanyabiashara wenzako mnapozungumza nao, wanasemaje kuhusiana na mambo ya kubadilisha noti? Je, imefanya biashara kuwa rahisi kidogo au ndo wamekaza nati kwamba biashara haitembei kirahisi.
Biashara imerudi chini kabisa, hakuna pesa. Tangu waanze kubadilisha hizo pesa kumekuwa kubaya zaidi. Hakuna pesa kabisa.
Labda neno la mwisho tu, ungependa kuona muda huu ukiongezwa ama ikome hapa hapo leo saa 10:30?
Nilikuwa naomba isimamie tu hapo basi tuzoe, kwa sababu hata ikizidi hakuna pesa inaojiongeza. Hakuna. Sasa heri isimame tu hapo, maisha iendelee.
Asante sana. Caroline, those are some of the sentiments we've been able to hear from the business people within this market, saying that they're set to comply with the government's deadline of, making the older 1,000 note obsolete, beginning, of course, today midnight. But we understand that at least by 4:30 p.m., those who have this old currency should have at least presented to the nearest bank before they are rendered useless before the end of business today. So there are those who feel like in some way it has affected their business, Caro, but going forward they are hoping that the things will get along well. Back to you.
Thank you, Simo, for that update. I'm so sure you'll be giving us more updates from the counties in regard to the same. Now it's time we take a look at how the shilling, as well as how your shares have been trading at the NSE. And we start with various products that have been happening, or rather farms have been happening at the NSE. We look at the top gainers, and Umeme market share price has been 6.64. That is a 9.93% change. Car in general has been trading at 22 shillings per share. That is 9.73% change. Everready East Africa was trading at 1.09 market share price. That is 9% up. Now we go to top losers, where Uchumi market share price has been trading at 27 cents. That is negative 10% change. Bamburi has been at 95.50, which is a negative 7.28% change. Liberty Kenya was third, which the share price was trading at 8.84. That is negative 5.5. Now we look at some of the various currencies, or rather how the shilling has been trading in regard to the forex, as well as the US dollar, as well as the sterling pound, as also how the euro has been trading. And you can see that the US dollar has been trading at 103.78. That is buying and selling at 103.98. Sterling pound has been trading against the shilling at 127.86. That is and selling at 128.14. Euro has been trading at 113.41 and selling at 113.66. Well, Rand has been trading at 6.85, or the exchange rate at 6.85, and selling at 6.86. Now, the Tanzanian shilling has been trading at 22.06. That is buying and selling at 22.19. Ugandan shilling is at 35.28 and selling at 35.55. That's how the currency has been trading for the better part of the morning, and that wraps up Inside Business for today. My name is Caroline Jenga. Join me in the evening as I bring you more on business news during the 9 p.m. bulletin. Have a great afternoon.